Hey everyone, I'm Everyday Buddyfighter, and this is the profile for Electrodeities from Miracle Fighters Miko and Mel. English release September 14, 2018. So obviously your flag is Katana World, but the buddy can change between Electrodeity like Amaterasu or Electro Beast Deity Messenger Ordera. I tend to stick with Amaterasu because of the anime, and honestly I very much like her aesthetic. Our only item for the deck is 3 copies of Kagura Bell of Worship. There are more than enough cards that stretch this thing out. And honestly, 3 is enough. 4 can be very cloggy, so 3 it is. Our size 0 lineup starts with 4 copies of Electro Beast Deity Messenger Ordera. It's a gauge and draw. It's very standard, not once per turn effect, so of course you would just run 4. 2 copies of Electro Beast Deity Messenger Shudo. A card with movement soul guard is very good for a card that's based around items. And it also can give your item 3,000 extra defense, which for Amaterasu is 50,000 defense, which is a super hard thing to break through with 1 card. 3 copies of Guardian Electro Beast Goryo. Search through the top cards of your deck. You can take any card you want, which is great. And also, if you discard any monsters or items, you can get that card back with Electrodeity's return. Of course, 4 copies of our buddy, Electrodeity Light Amaterasu. She's the one I usually like to equip with my item when I'm not trying to OTK with Susanoo. The first of her effects when she gets gauge and double attack, I don't really like to use that much. I prefer to just gain 2 life and draw an extra card, which can help me go plus more. And the 4,000 defense is pretty good too. And this effect can be used on either one of your turns, so you can draw a card and then re-equip Amaterasu and then draw another card in the next turn, which I think is great. 2 copies of Electrodeity of Water, Mizuo Hone. I would love to play more of her, however, due to the rampant of Hero World, this card isn't as useful as I would like it to be. But however, resting cards is good against certain other decks like Astro Dragons, the Dragon Order, or Garga. 4 copies of Unruly Electrodeity Susanoo. It's very straightforward. You equip this card on your turn and just smack down your opponent. If your opponent's using a very spell heavy deck like Battle Buildings, just pop all their cards. The final monster of this deck will be 2 copies of Shoot-In Demonic Deity Kiribuki. This card has Overkill, which none of the other cards do, so it's not like it interferes with your deck. And since you equip Warrior size 3, you will have room for this card to use on your field. Just buys you a free turn, which is more than good enough for me. Starting our spell lineup with 3 copies of Miracle Fighter, search out either your item or the card that you want to equip as your item on your next turn. 3 copies of Demon Way Sakura Fubuki is spell null, and spell nulls are very good in this format, so why not? 4 copies of Riku Hokuji, so I know that on your first turn if you draw this card, you can't draw 3 cards, but you can still draw 2 cards for 1 gauge, which on your first turn is still good, so of course run 4 copies of this. 4 copies of Electrodeity Feast, so it searches out your item, so obviously you want max to this copy, and then it can stand on Electrodeity on your field otherwise, so if your opponent happens to rest your item, or just Susanoo in general, or just whatever you want, you can just stand it and then keep going with your turn. So which is why I don't play the set spell anymore, because this card is just the same thing but better. 2 copies of Electrodeity Returns. I've tested it at 3 and at 4. It's very cloggy at that point because you really just keep most of your cards in your hand except for the size 0, so Electrodeity Returns is best at 2, honestly. Just fetch any stragglers from your drop zone and that's pretty much all it's used for. 3 copies of Kagura Electrodeity Greeting. So to gauge 3 draw, good. Search through your gauge, good. Take a card out of your gauge and add it to your hand. Great. So copies of Tempest Thunder Deity Cyclonic Thunderstorm. Like the card I suggest, you should use this with Susanoo, who has triple attack and penetrate, so you maximize damage to your opponent. However, you can use either your other items, like Amaterasu with double attack, which is still fine too. Healing damage to your opponent and popping the cards is definitely a benefit to playing this card. 2 copies of Ceremonial Breathe the Word. Honestly, this card is very weird since it pops cards based on critical of an item. However, the highest critical is Susanoo, which means that even if you technically brick, you can still use the card. But Amaterasu and Mizuo Hone both have 2, which a lot of cards have 2 critical, so you can still pop them 2. 3 copies of Ceremonial Water Mirror. Your standard no attack is provided. 3 copies of Ceremonial Divine Punishment Execution. So because crit reduction is so relevant, you obviously want to play this card. Your cards do have high defense, so you want to reduce the opponent's power since they will have to link attack you. And of course, being able to pop items and spells is very useful too. Finally, 2 copies of the Impact Reboot Electrodeity Komio. Just restand your item and attack again, can't be nulled. Susanoo 5 crit to the face, can't really complain. I am an Everyday Buddyfighter, and next time we will feature Galaxy Defense Team or the Galaxy Exalts. I will see you later.